Something is hurtling through our solar system faster than anything humanity has ever recorded. It's not a comet, it's not an asteroid. It is a stranger from the darkness between the stars. In July 2025, a telescope captured a faint speck of light, and that discovery immediately sent shockwaves through the scientific and political worlds, and challenged humanity's very perception of itself. This interstellar object, named 3I Atlas, is nothing like a natural comet. Its trajectory is too precise. Its surface is too perfect. The trail of light behind it looks like a controlled engine. Imagine a 5-kilometer-long metallic object, silently gliding into our solar system. As steady as a machine. For the first time, we may be looking at evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence. But the question isn't just what is it? It's what is it doing here? On the night of July 5, 2025 in the Arizona desert, a robotic telescope with the Atlas system scanned the sky, just as it did every night. Its mission to find asteroids that could pose a threat to Earth. But that night, a strange signal appeared, a tiny, dim point of light, moving with extreme velocity on an orbit that didn't match any known object in the solar system. Within hours, the data was relayed to observatories in South America, Europe, and NASA's Deep Space Network. The analysis was identical. This was an interstellar object, the third in human history. It was designated 3I 2025 or 3I Atlas. The object's speed was instantly staggering. It was traveling at over 45 kilometers per second, or 160,000 kilometers per hour, more than 200 times faster than the most advanced jet aircraft. No interstellar object had ever passed through the solar system at such a high velocity. While Oumuamua, discovered in 2017, reached 26 kilometers, and Borisov in 2019 hit 32 kilometers. 3 Atlas shattered all precedents. Its size was equally astonishing, with an estimated diameter of 3 to 5 kilometers. It was 3 to 5 times larger than Comet Borisov. An object of this scale, if it were to strike Earth, could trigger a cataclysmic impact similar to the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. However, its trajectory showed it was heading toward Mars, not Earth. But this temporary relief did little to calm the growing anxiety, because its flight path was itself a profound mystery. As more observational data poured in, the anomalies of 3I Atlas became undeniable. It had no characteristic dusty tail of a comet, nor was it surrounded by a fuzzy coma. Its surface was brighter than expected, smooth and perfectly intact, showing no signs of weathering from millions of years adrift in space. This forced scientists to ask, was this truly a natural rock, or something else entirely? The answer grew more complicated when the James Webb Space Telescope detected a colossal cloud of carbon dioxide gas enveloping the object. This cloud stretched nearly 350,000 kilometers, roughly the distance from the Earth to the Moon. Ordinarily, the solar wind should have blown this gas away in mere hours, yet it remained stable, maintaining a uniform temperature throughout. To sustain such a massive structure, there had to be an internal energy source hundreds of times more powerful than the solar energy it was receiving at that distance. A common comet could never possess such a mechanism. What truly unsettled scientists was how 3I Atlas moved. It wasn't following an elliptical orbit like comets within our solar system. It was on a hyperbolic trajectory like a visitor who stops by once before disappearing forever into the infinite void. Within 48 hours of discovery, observations from telescopes worldwide, including pre-covery data from as early as June 14th, confirmed it. This was an interstellar object, unbound by the sun's gravity. It was merely borrowing our solar system as a brief stop on a journey billions of years long. And then came the most shocking evidence. Trailing behind the object, instead of a mottled dust tail, telescopes recorded a narrow, well-defined beam of light, emitting steadily. The particles within it were uniform in size and velocity, completely unlike the chaotic tail of a comet. The image looked more like the exhaust from a rocket engine than the trace of melting ice. For many researchers, this was the bombshell. 3I Atlas could be a machine operating a form of propulsion that humans have only dared to imagine in theory. Compared to the two previous interstellar visitors, the difference was stark. Oumuamua was small, tumbled chaotically, had no tail, and left scientists debating between the planetary fragment and alien light sail theories. Borisov looked familiar, a classic comet with a clear dust and gas tail, and a composition similar to our own comets. But 3I Atlas fit no existing model. It was too large, too bright, too stable, accompanied by an impossible gas cloud and a mysterious engine plume. In less than a week, the entire international astronomical community was consumed by the phenomenon. Ground-based telescopes rescheduled their observations. The James Webb Space Telescope prioritized it. And even military satellites were tasked to track it. Initially, scientists were thrilled by the chance to study an object from another star system. But the deeper they dug, the more they realized they were confronting something far beyond the scope of traditional astronomy. If this was a comet, it should obey the known laws of nature. Evaporating ice creates a tail. Solar wind disperses gas, and the gravity of giant planets alters its path. But 3I Atlas broke all the rules: the shiny metallic surface, the self-sustaining gas cloud, the precise trajectory, the discrete bursts of acceleration, and the beam-like trail. It all painted a picture that science had no category for. According to calculations, 3I Atlas will reach its closest point to the Sun by the end of 2025 before exiting the solar system. But before it leaves, it will pass through the Earth-Moon region, close enough for direct observation. This will be humanity's only chance to see it up close, and a monumental challenge if we want to launch an intercept mission. The preparation time is measured in months, and the data collection window could last mere minutes. Worse, if the object is truly maneuverable, it could evade any attempt to approach it, from a dim speck on a computer screen. 3I Atlas had rapidly become a global enigma. In a matter of days, labs, mission control centers, and even national security agencies were working around the clock to monitor it, while millions of curious people looked to the sky. Scientists began to whisper a question they dared not say aloud: if this isn't a dead rock, but the product of another intelligence. Then, what are we witnessing? A test A message or a warning from the cosmos? To find answers, humanity turned to its most trusted tool: light. When an object travels through space, sunlight reflects off its surface, creating a signature in the light spectrum. For centuries, astronomers have used this technique to identify the composition of stars, planets, and comets, and 3I Atlas would be no exception. When the first spectroscopic data came back, the mission control room fell silent. Instead of the familiar absorption bands of water ice, ammonia, or organic compounds, the typical signatures of a comet, 3I Atlas emitted bright lines associated with heavy metals. Scientists detected traces of refined nickel, vanadium, and even tungsten. This was not the kind of material found on natural celestial bodies. On the contrary, it closely resembled industrial materials used by humans in jet engines and spacecraft. Why would an object from deep space have such characteristics? One hypothesis was quickly proposed. Perhaps it was the core of a dead planet, shattered by a cataclysmic impact and ejected from its home star system. As its rocky, icy mantle was stripped away, the remaining metallic core drifted through space for millions of years. This theory could explain the bright surface, but it failed to account for the other anomalies: the giant gas cloud, the absolute stability, and especially the narrow beam trailing behind it. What about the possibility of it being a strange comet? Some suggested it might be a previously undocumented type of metallic comet with an unusual outgassing mechanism. But every calculation showed that if this were outgassing, the thrust would be asymmetrical, causing the object to tumble or alter its rotation. 3I Atlas, however, was unnervingly stable, like a gyroscope, under constant adjustment. Scientists discovered another bizarre detail in the data. Its surface temperature was nearly uniform, with no significant difference between the side facing the sun and the side in shadow. For a natural object, this is impossible. One side should be scorching hot while the other is frozen. This uniformity suggested a radical possibility: its temperature was being regulated from within. If true, it would mean 3I Atlas wasn't just existing, it was operating. In an effort to understand more, Researchers compared it to the two previous interstellar visitors. Oumuamua sparked years of debate. It was unusually elongated, had no tail, and accelerated in a way that was hard to explain. Some scientists suggested it could be a light sail built by an extraterrestrial intelligence. Borisov was a safer discovery, exhibiting all the features of a classic comet, but 3I Atlas, with its precise trajectory and narrow beam, made the natural hypothesis increasingly difficult to defend. If Oumuamua made people half-jokingly consider an artificial origin, 3 Atlas was making that theory impossible to ignore. To maintain scientific objectivity, some scientists tried to find one last natural explanation. Perhaps it contained a rare form of ice like pure hydrogen or nitrogen that sublimated in a unique way, creating a thrust we've never observed before. But this idea was immediately challenged: a massive metallic body filled with highly volatile ice. It's unlikely to exist. Furthermore, the carbon dioxide cloud was far too stable to be the product of random outgassing. While the scientific community was perplexed, the global public became captivated by speculation on social media. The phrase alien spaceship trended worldwide. Newspapers ran headlines like interstellar object or alien machine. Governments remained cautious, but even their internal reports acknowledged that an artificial origin could not be ruled out. And that's what made the situation so dramatic. Science is inherently conservative. Researchers avoid jumping to conclusions, as one wrong finding can destroy a career's worth of credibility. But 3I Atlas was forcing them to walk the line between caution and boldness. Every one of its features seemed to underscore a single point: this was no ordinary comet. Amid this uncertainty, emergency plans were drafted. Some teams proposed launching a high-speed spacecraft to fly by and capture close-up images. But the object's immense velocity made this mission a near impossible challenge. To intercept it would require a powerful engine that humanity does not yet possess. The only option was to take advantage of its close pass by Earth, a rare opportunity that would last only a few minutes. If missed, 3I Atlas would disappear into the cosmic darkness, taking its secrets with it forever. And here, the biggest question of all began to form. If another civilization was indeed behind this object, what was their purpose? Was this a probe, simply passing by to observe? Was it a test to gauge our detection capabilities? Some offered a more pessimistic hypothesis: it could be a signal for a not-so-friendly encounter, while the public looked up with a mixture of wonder and fear. Labs and control centers around the world worked tirelessly, analyzing every photon, every tiny change in its orbit. But the deeper they dug, the more they hit a wall of mystery. 3 Atlas refused to reveal its secrets. It just kept moving, silently, along a path that seemed to have been charted long ago. And that is the contradictory nature of this discovery. It is both a bizarre natural phenomenon and, at the same time, an object bearing the unmistakable signs of design. It forces humanity to reconsider the limits of science, and even the very definitions of natural and artificial. When we can no longer explain something with familiar laws, the only remaining option is to admit that there is something out there, beyond our current understanding. As the day of its flyby approaches, the pressure mounts. Everyone understands if we miss this chance, it could be centuries or even millennia before we get another one. The question is no longer just what is it, but are we fast enough and brave enough to find out the truth? Since humans first looked at the sky, the greatest question has always been, are we alone in the universe? Every scientific revolution, from Newton's discovery of gravity to Einstein's theory of relativity, has changed how humanity understands its place in the cosmos. But the discovery of 3I Atlas isn't just another step forward. It could be a historical turning point for science. This object is a missing piece of the puzzle. For decades, astronomers have discussed the concept of technosignatures, evidence of the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence. But it all remained theoretical. 3I Atlas has brought that concept into reality. Its metallic spectrum, controlled motion, and extraordinary stability have become evidence that is difficult to dismiss. Dr. Caroline Hughes from the University of Oxford stated it plainly. This is not just an anomaly. This is a paradigm shift. It forces us to redefine humanity's place in the universe. Her words echo other seismic scientific milestones in 2015, when gravitational waves were first detected, confirming Einstein's 100-year-old prediction. In 2019, when the first ever image of a black hole stunned the world. And now, in 2025, 3i Atlas could stand alongside or even surpass those moments. The practical implications are even more unsettling. If this object truly contains technology like plasma propulsion or ultra-durable alloys, it opens up the prospect of interstellar spacecraft, compact energy reactors, and technological leaps that could help humanity settle Mars. This is no longer science fiction, commented a NASA engineer. This is a future we might be able to touch. It's no surprise that governments are viewing it with both desire and apprehension. Because being the first to access its secrets means gaining a strategic advantage that could alter the global balance of power. Much like the development of nuclear weapons did, history has shown that a single invention can both save and destroy. 3 Atlas is placing humanity at that exact crossroads, but beyond politics and technology. The greatest shock is cultural and social. Generations have sung of humanity's loneliness in the cosmos. Now, the prospect of not being alone is no longer a hypothesis, but a potential reality. Religious beliefs, philosophy, and even art must adapt. Some communities have embraced it as a divine sign, while others see it as a spiritual threat. Sociologists call this phenomenon an existential crisis of agency, the feeling that humanity's destiny may now lie in the hands of an extraterrestrial power. To grasp its significance, many historians have compared it to the Columbian Exchange, the moment when two separate civilizations collided for the first time, resulting in irreversible change. And 3i Atlas, whether it's a probe, a relic, or an omen, carries the same weight an encounter that will forever change the way we see the world. 300 years ago, the first telescopes helped humanity realize that the Earth was not the center of the universe. Today, 3 Atlas may be forcing us to confront an even greater truth, that humanity is not the only intelligence. And once this door is opened, there is no going back. This is more than a scientific discovery. It is a reminder that the universe is not silent, it is alive, and it may be watching us. The issue is, how will humanity respond? Will we use this opportunity to unite and reach for the stars? Or will we descend into division and fear? The question is no longer just what is it, but what will we do about it? Is it a peaceful messenger, passing silently to remind us we are not alone? Or is it a cold relic, the remnant of a civilization that vanished millions of years ago? It could even be a reconnaissance tool, a sign that someone out there is monitoring humanity's every move. In the next 10 years, with faster spacecraft and more powerful telescopes, we might find the answer. Perhaps 2025 will be remembered as the beginning of interstellar archaeology, when humanity first truly touched an extraterrestrial technosignature. Or it could be remembered as a warning that the vast universe is not necessarily a welcoming place, but whatever scenario unfolds. 3i Atlas has planted a seed that cannot be extinguished, a shared sense of curiosity, aspiration, and fear for all of humanity. And perhaps those emotions are the first step toward becoming an interstellar civilization ourselves. What do you think? Is 3i Atlas a messenger, a relic, or just a strange comet? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next discoveries from the cosmos. And if you found this video insightful, please share it so more people can join the exploration.